Okay, so hey guys, welcome back to the Corsair 600T modeling series. In the next couple of parts, we're going to go ahead and create this bottom piece for the case, and then we're going to go ahead and start modeling the back of the case. So last time we left off creating the mesh for the front of the case, and I told you guys to go ahead and finish the bottom bit as well with the same technique that we created these as well. I haven't done that, so yeah, hopefully you guys finished the front of the case. So after you've done that, make sure that you go ahead and add all the mesh to a separate layer, and then we're going to go ahead and hide that just to save performance and so on, because most likely it's really laggy. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is go ahead and create this simple sort of foot for the case. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my side view, turn on X-ray, and then we're going to go ahead and create a simple cube and start dragging that out. Okay, give it some height. I'm not too bothered about it at the moment. And then let's just go into our front view to go ahead and move this. Okay, maybe scale it up a bit more, something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and start blocking out this main sort of shape. Let's go ahead and grab both of the top verts, push them up. Let's go ahead and grab this guy, pull it in, add a loop in here. So I'm just going to go to insert edge loop, add this guy somewhere here. Let's just go ahead and grab the bottom two verts, 4, drag that up, and then push this guy. Probably snap it here because it seems like it's straight. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with this guy, like so. Push this a bit back, and then we can go ahead and extrude that bottom section. So this guy, just grab that and extrude it a little bit. Okay. I'm going to grab all of these and just push it down a little bit. Okay, so that's basically roughly the shape that we're looking for, and I'm pretty sure that this is curved. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab top two here and just push that in a little bit, and then grab the whole mesh and pull it out like so. And we can go ahead and just scale this up a little bit more so it's a little bit thicker. Okay, so that's the main shape basically. Let's go ahead and add in the loops so this will hold its shape, and this is roughly done. Then we can go ahead and tweak this a little bit more, but it's not really a big piece of the case, so I don't want to worry about it too much. And I'm just checking, because the case is right next to me, I'm just checking if what sort of curve this is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add in another loop here in the center and go ahead and scale this up so this is a little bit more curved and not perfectly straight. Okay, so that should do roughly. Let's go ahead and add in all the loops that we need. So we can go ahead and smooth this guy. Okay, so this should be really simple now. Okay, let me just get rid of that, sorry about that. Let me just deselect all these edges so it doesn't start freaking out for me. Care on adding these guys in. Oh, not again. So that's why I deselect the edges, because when the edges are selected and then you try to add a loop in it, freaks out. Okay, one around the top. And because these are so long, we're going to go ahead and add in a couple more, so this will hold its shape better. Let's go ahead and add one around here as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and add one in here. And then let's sort out the back as well. Okay, so that looks fine. Let's go and add one here as well. And then we're going to go to our insert edge loop tool, multiple edge loops, and probably like 6, just to braid this up so it will smooth nicer. And we could probably go ahead and add one in the center as well, just to make sure that this will smooth properly. Okay, so that looks about fine. Let's go ahead and smooth it and see how it looks. Okay, so I might want to add in a couple more, well, like 2 more edges here, just to make this curve a little bit nicer. But for now, I'm not going to worry about it too much, really. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. Okay, so that should do. Looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and duplicate this to the other side. So Control D, and it's going to be in X. So scale X and just put a minus sign. And that didn't do it. So let's go ahead and just snap the pivot to the center of the grid, and then try that one more time. Okay, so that's cool. Let's go ahead and group them both together. Oh, they should. There we go. And just name this mesh foot. And also group the mesh at the front together. Okay. Alright, so the foot is done. Let's go ahead and start setting up the stuff so we can go ahead and create the back of the case. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and replace this reference, and we'll still work in the front view, but instead of working this mesh, we'll work on the back. So we're just going to go ahead and flip the whole case. So the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and hide everything. So, well, probably not everything. So let's go ahead and basically we're just going to go ahead and duplicate this, and this is going to be basically our back mesh. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that and drag it out. And I'm going to select everything for the rest of the case. And we'll probably need this guy, which we made for the mesh, because on the back there is a mesh as well. So I'm not going to go ahead and hide that one. But I'm going to go ahead and group this all together, just temporarily, add it to a new layer, and go ahead and hide it. And this will be our back. So I'm going to go ahead and name this case back, move it back where it was. Okay, and now all we got to do is basically just replace this reference image. So I'm going to select that and go ahead and find our image plane. So it's going to be our back. Open that up. Okay, and if now I go into my front view, as you can see, there's a reference, nearly lines up, but that should be good enough. We could go ahead and move this a little bit actually to make sure that this lines up properly. So let's go ahead and select front reference. Go down to the input image plane and then the center X. Let's go ahead, try to adjust this a little bit. Let me just go ahead and slow down my slider. Okay, so I'm just trying to line this up roughly, and that should do the trick. Okay, so let's go ahead and start blocking out the main shape for this. So if I go ahead and unsmooth this guy, if you notice, you're going to go ahead and grab basically this this inner edge, and we're going to have to go ahead and extrude this so it lines up over here. And then this bit is all flat, okay? So that will give us basically this sort of front inner rim that we're creating. And then we'll go ahead and create this, this mesh separately. So let's go ahead and crack on with this guy. So first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is get rid of these loops. So get rid of that guy. And go ahead and get rid of this inner guy as well. Okay. So now I'm just thinking where should we extrude it from, and we should really let me just think about this for a second. So we could just scale these guys in, so all of these faces, and scale them in. But instead what we're going to go ahead and do is, let me just see, I'm just going to go ahead and grab this edge and extrude that in. So I'm going to go ahead and add in another edge loop. So insert edge loop, and probably just somewhere along here, and this should work fine for us. So I'm grabbing that, and we're going to go ahead and extrude that. Go back into my front view. Okay, like so. And then once the top edge meets the top where we need it, I'm going to go ahead and scale it this way. Okay, and that basically the shape that we are looking for. So once we have that, we're just going to have to go ahead and push this guy in. So if you notice, that's going in pretty deep. So let's go ahead and push in a little bit more. Let me just see how far this is going in. Okay, so probably we'll push it in somewhere around here for now. That should do the trick. And later we can always go ahead and move this whole piece back, but I think for now this will do for us. So after we have that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is, while this is still selected, the edge loop, hopefully we're not making any issues here. We're going to go ahead and scale this so it straightens everything out, and then we will go ahead and push this back where it was, probably roughly there. Okay, so that looks great. So now it seems like that trying to find that face that we had, it seemed to have disappeared. Let's go ahead and smooth this, see if we can find it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select this loop and try to scale this up. There we go. And that will give us the thickness back. But it doesn't really matter for the inner piece because it's not really going to be seen. But this way we sort of we can add in the loops very easier. So I'm just going to scale it where it needs to be, like so, and that should do the trick for us. And we're going to have to go ahead and move this back a little bit so it can't be seen. So I'm just going to select that loop again, go ahead and push this back. So just go into my top view and push it back here. Okay, so now this is freaking out. because what we're going to have to go ahead and do is actually, instead of scaling it that way, we're going to have to scale it in. Like so, and that should be fine for now. Okay, cool. So now let's go ahead and add in all the loops. And then we can go ahead and start working on the inner piece that we need. Oops. We could go ahead and delete those faces because we don't really need them, but let's just see if this will work fine, and if it does, then we shouldn't really worry about it too much. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add in one more loop here, see if it looks a little bit nicer. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We could go ahead and push this back a little bit more, but I think for now this should work the way it needs to. So let's just go into our X-ray mode, and we're gonna have to go ahead and scale this again so it lines up with our reference. Well, not scale it, we're just gonna have to go ahead and extrude it. So it will be our flat panel. So for that, we can again go ahead and just extrude, probably from this loop that we added in here. Okay, go back into my front view, go ahead and hit extrude, scale, and go ahead and scale this guy in, and then down. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to just line up the curve here as much as I can and the sides, and then we'll go ahead and move the individual verts later. Okay, so that looks fine, and then hopefully this guy is straight, and it is, I think. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Let's just go into our side view and check this out. I'm just checking if this is straight. No, I think it is, and it's not curved, hopefully. So now let's go ahead and start moving these verts, so it will be sitting at the right place. And I'm just going to go ahead and try to grab probably, let me just see. So I'm just looking at this curve here and how we're going to place these verts, and I'm thinking that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I think that 3 should be more than enough for this curve. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and cut this guy in half, so I only have to work on 1/2. So I'm just going to delete all that. And then we're just going to go ahead and move these verts so they line up. And let's just do a couple at the same time. So I'm going to select all of them and then scale them. And then go ahead and move them down. Okay, do the same thing with this. Snap it to this guy. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and do the same thing with these, and now try to start moving them to where they need to be around this curve. And I'm actually not going to scale that one. Okay, cool. So now I'm just going to have to go ahead and select all of these guys and move them. So I'm just shift selecting them so that I can go ahead and move this. So now I'm just checking the bottom half, and here we're gonna have to move quite a lot of stuff to make this line up properly, but it should be fine. So once I have all of these guys selected, I'm just gonna go ahead and move them. And I had that guy selected as well, so let's just deselect that and then try that one more time. Okay, so that's close enough. And now let's go ahead and start sorting out this bottom. Okay. So here, again, we're gonna have to move around quite a lot of stuff, especially with this curve. It's not lining up properly. But because for the reference for this to sort of look properly, I want this inner rim to line up pretty much perfectly with the reference. So we could go ahead and just leave it as it is and estimate where the pieces would be, but it wouldn't be as accurate, and I feel that it should be for this back piece. So we're going to go ahead and do that properly. So here, if you notice this, this is our flat piece. Okay, and this is still the curve, so it doesn't actually line up properly with, I mean, the inner edge of our mesh does. So this guy lines up, but not this guy. So we're gonna have to go ahead and just scale this up, and we could go ahead and possibly delete these inner faces, and it would make our life a lot easier, I think. We should have only extruded an edge instead of a whole face, but for now it should be fine. So we're just going to go ahead and scale this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and select this loop, and hit scale, and we're going to go ahead and drag this up, and hopefully I have the whole loop selected. Let me just check, and I didn't. Let's just go back, so I just undo. Okay, and we need to select this loop as well, double loop, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. Select that one, select, so select this loop, select that loop, and let's go ahead into a front view, scale these up. So I'm just trying to see where they need to go. So it needs to go up here, roughly, and there. Okay, so that looks better. Just gonna have to go ahead and move this wet. Same on the other side. Okay, and now we should be able to go ahead and line this up on the bottom as well fairly easily, or it should be already lined up pretty much. So now we just go ahead and move these guys. down. And again, I'm just going to grab a whole lot of them, push them down, scale them down. Line it up with our reference. And it's going to be really close here, but it's fine. Because this bottom piece is actually a separate mesh because it comes out, but we're not going to model that in. So we'll just leave that guy out, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and start moving this manually. So actually these this one I think needs to come up. Yep. So let's go ahead and push this guy up here. And we could go ahead and actually cut this piece in later on. I just thought that this is the line that we're pushing the words to, but it's actually the top half, so it's fine. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and start pushing this around. And I'm snapping it to this guy because that lines up with our top. Okay, and this is for our curve. We should be pretty much done once this guy is moved. And let me just make sure that's lined up and this is lined up as well. We could go ahead and push this guy up, move this one over, so we get a nicer sort of curve going. And then move this vert up a little bit, like so. Okay, and that should be perfectly fine. Let's just have a look. Okay, so it looks like it's a little bit of a mess, but it's not that bad. We have a thickness going on here, so that when we add the next panel, it will be fine. I don't really want to spend too much time on getting this look perfect because it's not really going to be seen. Okay, so I'm just checking around here. Let's go ahead and add in all the loops. So now again, we could go ahead and add in all the loops and then duplicate it over, and when we merge the words, hopefully they'll merge properly. Or we could go ahead and duplicate it over now and then add in the loops. So it's sort of a personal preference again of how you do it. So let's just go ahead and duplicate it over first, and then add in the loops, and then we'll wrap this part up. So I'm just duplicating this over, and then x minus 1. Okay, let's grab both of them, mesh combine, edit, delete all by type history, and then let's go ahead and add in merge the verts, and then add in the loops. So I'm just selecting all these. We're gonna have to use a pretty small offset because there's already a loop here, and these guys are really close as well. But because we merged them, I mean we put them so close, a really small offset should do the trick. And we can go ahead and check that by smoothing. Okay, so if you look at the wireframe, if there isn't any freakiness going on, then it's fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and quickly add in the loop, so this will hold its shape. I'll add one here in the center as well, just to make sure. So because we extruded this face, we actually have some thickness to this, so it will probably look a lot better when we go ahead and line stuff up. Or we can go ahead and get rid of the inner face. We'll go ahead and see that in the next part and see how we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how it looks when you smooth it. Okay, so that looks really good. Bottom looks nice as well. Could probably go ahead and make this a little bit sharper. It would look a lot nicer. So let's go ahead and get rid of this loop, add in another one. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We could go ahead and add in another loop here so it will hold its shape. It won't move as far out. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. Okay, so it looks really good. That's what we need. So that's perfectly flat. This is all nice and curved. And now in here we'll have and put our inner sort of mesh or inner sort of panel that we need. And because we added some thickness to this will probably look really good when we go ahead and push this panel in there. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next part. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's really long, and I'll see you guys in the next part where we go ahead and start creating this inner piece.